Welcome to the inaugural episode of Retro World Order, our new retro gaming podcast with myself, CapnMikeM, along with Los from the Future Monkeys. Hello, Los.
Yes, sir. Hello. How is everything?
Oh, the levers are being pushed, the buttons are being pressed. We are in tinkering times over here, so that's why we decided to do this podcast. Los and I have been struck with the retro bug, you would say, and we've been furiously downloading legal ROMs. We want to put that out there as a disclaimer right away.
Yes.
to enjoy games of our youth, and we decided.
Yes, I just want to let everybody know that I'm deeply sorry for the horrible fire to your storage unit where all your physical games were being held. I know that was a long time ago, but it's something that we moved past, and thankfully we're able to find these legally obtained copies of our old games.
That's right. No stone has been left unturned. We have gone far and wide to the reaches of the internet to obtain these legally. Thank you, Internet Archive. As I told Los, it's like going through your grandparents' old closet. It's very musty. It's like a flea market. You never know what you're going to find, but there have been some treasures along the way.
Mm-hmm. There sure has, and just for the record, because I'm sure something. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get to that. We'll get there. I don't want to jump the gun here, so let's just go.
Yes. So the name of the show is Retro World Order. We'll try to get out a show as often as we can, either bi-weekly, weekly, or when time allows. Smaller episodes where we can sort of zero in on maybe a new process we've learned, a new system we're tinkering around with, a new retro game that we have never played or are blowing the dust off of and finding new joy in again. So that's kind of the agenda here, and sort of, I guess, my journey, Los, with the whole retro thing. A couple years ago, I inquired with you about doing this on the Steam Deck, right? And,
yes, I do remember that. Yep.
And that really, didn't, I don't know, for whatever reason, didn't really grab my attention at the time, and probably still doesn't. I don't know, I like to just use the Steam Deck for the Steam purposes, I guess. I'm weird like that. I don't like to tinker to that level with the device and bounce from one desktop back to the Steam OS. That's my hang up. That's a me issue. And certainly ROMs have been around forever, right? I have PCs here I could emulate on the PC if I liked, but there's something enjoyable about this whole Android Linux handheld angle that has really grabbed my attention. And you'll probably nod along with this. Russ over at Retro Game Corps has been a big catalyst for this. Even when I didn't have the devices, I was watching this man, just maybe because the linguist that he is and the presentation was so appealing. And I think after watching this enough times, I was like, I can do this. I feel like I can pull this off.
Yeah, he is the retro gaming Jesus. He's there to guide us and to inform and make sure we are on the right track, the right path with everything that we need to do.
Right. So for those that don't know, Retro Game Corps, it's a channel on YouTube, and the guy there, Russ, who's based in Hawaii, which I'm jealous of. He gets a lot of handhelds and he goes through them. He creates guides or he creates quick videos on like a new OS that you could put on one of these handhelds, or breaks down a shader process and in just a very digestible way. And he's not the only guy. Tech Dweeb and Joey's Handhelds are some others that we enjoy as well.
Yeah, Tech Dweeb is my second favorite. He's my second hand man next to Russ. So I appreciate Tech Dweeb and all his nerdy, like, persona that he has going on. I love the whole shtick he has going on his channel. It's funny.
And he's very succinct, right? He gets to the point.
Yeah.
Yep. He likes to put the timer on his videos. I just installed newly on a new device that I got this week, the Amberneck RG34XXSP. Look at us being nerdy right away. And I got the Newly OS, and he has a video that you told me about where he puts like a 2-minute timer, and so that really helps. So
yeah, that was a really, really quick and easy way to get it done. And usually with any sort of guide with whatever you find on YouTube, you're gonna have the whole backstory and everything, and it's like you listen to it and stuff, but like sometimes you just want to like cut to the chase and get to the point. And it was very, very simple with the running through it in 2 minutes. So I thought it was pretty good.
Yep, I'm still learning the ins and outs of it. I'm not sure the device itself is the. It's not you're paying for what you get. You know what I mean? And it's a sub $100 device, and there's some quirks, things that don't work the way that I would hope they work. But I'm working through the bugs. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes,
a little bit there. So why do the show, or why get into retro stuff? And I think I explained it on my own podcast on Second Thought with Mike and Matt. And, I had this itch to play about a handful of games, the whole Burnout series, the NBA Street games. I love Kirby, and specifically Kirby's Epic Yarn. And then I'm into like twin stick shooters like Super Stardust HD, specifically the one that was on the Vita. And I was always would tell Matt, if I could just play those games again, I would be happy. And I think that, along with watching Russ's videos, I just started to put the wheels in motion to, pick up a different, not a different hobby, but another hobby with this hobby of podcasting and gaming, another angle to it. And so that's, sort of been the catalyst to move forward with this. I picked up the Retro Pocket 5, and I started dabbling with that. And the thing
was that your first one? That was your first handheld that you picked up when you started getting into it?
Yes. Yep. And they've been sprouting up like rabbits ever since. They just been popping off here, as one who does when you watch these videos and then you start subscribing to various channels on Reddit. You start getting the FOMO, and I can do this. Well, let me try that. That seems real intriguing. I bet I could pull that off. And that's why my desk right now looks like like a factory exploded. There's boxes, there's SD cards, there's grips. It's disgusting.
Man.
So I don't know about you. Like, what was the catalyst for you to sort of? I know you've been dabbling in it for a while with the Steam Deck, and then you have one of these little handhelds as well. But it seems like it's caught your interest more lately as well.
Yeah. It was the Steam Deck that got me into it. And it was whenever the OLED Steam Deck came out. That was when I first got the Steam Deck for the first time. And it was back then that I started to dab into the retro gaming scene with everything. And just like you, it was, I got it all set up. I got everything working. Everything was fine. Everything was good. I learned a lot with emulators and, like checking out Russ's videos and all that stuff. So it's like I was in the know with things and knew how to work stuff and all that. But it was very much this thing is cool. This is neat. I'm glad I have it, but it wasn't like a primary thing for me on the Steam Deck. And it's like you said, like even now, I have another device, like another Anbinic device here that I was using for smaller games and stuff. It only works up to a certain system, so I have those systems that it doesn't work on there, like N64 has a joystick that's more preferred to play with. Whatever I could get working with PS3, which is a pain in the ass. But it's those are the things that I use the Steam Deck for. For all the other stuff I use on the separate device. And it's just like, I feel like it's better that way. The Steam Deck is great for Steam games. That's what it's good for. And yeah, you could do other stuff, but then it's like, you got these other devices that they're better off for that. They're made for, they feel better when you're playing those older games. And, it got to the point not too long ago where I felt like it was needed again. Like I feel like it has a lot to do with the world that we're living in now, the absolute, insanity that is the world, that it's just every single day you're like, okay, what's going to happen now? What is going to be thrown at us now? And it's like gaming has become such like a blur. It's like a big blob. Like it's a soup now. That's what it is. Like that's how I felt for a while with modern gaming. There's these things that come out that like really shine through, that really catch my attention, that they're good and they're fun and all that. But for the most part, for me, like there's so much of the same coming out that it just feels blah. And it's something that I'm still keeping up with. I'm still there with it, but then I feel like something comforting is needed, like something that you're familiar with, something that you like, brings nostalgia back. That's because that's what it's all about. That's the fuel that is powering these endeavors right now. Nostalgia, your memories for these games that you played when you were growing up, when you discovered them or whatever like that. So it's like, for me, that's what it's about. And I was, we've discussed this before. And I threw out the name Retro World Order because of that, because it made sense, because it's like, it needs to be some sort of a new world order going on as far as gaming goes. And the best way to do that is to go back to the roots, to see what it is that made things fun. Because, nowadays something comes out that it's like, that it blows your mind and it becomes, this viral sensation everybody's playing. Most of the time, it's something that's like, low res, like, the homages to the older games. Yeah. So
the blueprints, the Balatros,
Yeah. The Stardew Valley is a big one, Sea of Stars. You see, like all these games, they come out, they're mimicking what made them great in the first place, the roots, So I feel like, a retro world order is in order. And I think that's fitting for where we're going. And, a lot of people, they don't feel the same. A lot of people, gamers these days, they're all with the here and now, and I totally get that because, I'm the same way. There's plenty of new games that I want to play too. And it's just making that time, that little bit of time to like get back into something familiar, get back into something that made you happy so you could remember and feel good inside somewhat, take the time to explore. And, it's something that also, you don't really need to get into these devices because, you already mentioned a few. My handheld that I have is the RG35XX Plus, if you're familiar with that. I'm sure in the show notes, we'll put links. Maybe I'll do up the show notes and put all the links and all that stuff and put them in there so you could see what we're talking about. But it's like a Game Boy type shape to it. It's nice and simple. and it works. It works good. But you don't need that, because nowadays, you could just fire up an emulator on your phone and go to town and get to work on it, and it's good. It's good these days. It's easy to jump into it, and you don't really need to invest $100-$200 into these fancy doodads that work with them. So it's good.
Unless you have a sickness like someone else on the show, it's again a me problem. I don't like to cross pollinate my phone with, like you said, you could put RetroArch on your phone. You could you could download the ROMs, and you could have the money in your back pocket, and you'd be none the wiser, right? But yeah, there's some. I echo the sentiments of everything you just said about nostalgia. But I think I'm also coming at it from like 2 or 3 other angles. First of all, I missed out on the whole like SNES up until the original Xbox PS2 era. So I was doing other things in my life during that time. So I was certainly a gamer like the Atari and NES days. And then, fell in love with music, was in a band and did all that stuff, and was sort of out of gaming again until the original Xbox came out. And I had, the PS2, but really Xbox was, the original one was the catalyst to getting back into all this stuff. So I missed out on Super Nintendo, N64, all the Sega, Saturns. I had a Dreamcast later on when I had a retro bug. During the 360 era, I picked up a Dreamcast. I had a same thing with the PSP. I picked up a PSP at one point, but those things I don't know where they have flown the coop somehow. I don't know. In one of the moves, they must have got put on the yard sale, and some kid must have scooped them for like $1. My wife was probably like, "Yeah, just take these things." but yeah, so I'm, that's a big part of it. That there's a whole era of games that I've missed out on that I want to go back and dabble in and play with. And I think the other thing is, as I get, a little older here in life, trying to learn new things. If you said to Mike, a year ago, hey, you're going to be flashing memory cards and you're going to be installing operating systems and you're going to be following these guides and going here and downloading stuff, it was not in the realm of possibilities. I used to always say on the show, if I could just pay someone, this is the list of games I want in the systems, here's the money, deliver it to me, and, I'll be happy. And now I can't even imagine doing that. I am sort of adept at, installing operating systems on devices and learning about programs called Rufus and, and other things to...
Balena Etcher.
Yeah, to get things working. So it is... While yes, I echo the nostalgia and a need to sort of go back to the roots of gaming and discovering what made things fun, but it's also something that is stimulating my brain and sort of teaching an old dog new tricks, which they say can't be done. So that has really been a thing for me. And thanks to all the people that have done the hard work, right? If I just go to Google and type in how to do these things, and there is either, GitHub pages or Reddit pages or people's blogs. And I don't want to, give the illusion to someone that Mike has, discovered, cracked the code and has, figured this stuff. There's people that have paved the way and have made it very easy for simpletons like me to do this stuff. But it has been enjoyable, and the community, is far and wide, and some of the work they put in and the processes the way they explain it and just sort of get to the matter of fact, this is how you do it, is really appreciated and has been easy for me to digest. So that's sort of, as much to the dismay of my wife and the wallet, that has been the game. It's, I am playing the games. I don't want to, say that I'm not playing the games. I am playing them, as Russ likes to call it, profits, right? I am profiteering, but I am also always looking at the device and the tinkering as the game as well.
Yes. Yeah. That is a problem. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but that happened with me with the Steam Deck when I started back then. And it was very much like, okay, I figured this out now. how can I improve? What else can I do? What else? How can I make it look better? How can I make it do this? And it's like it's it gets in your head, and you have so much fun tinkering, getting in there and like messing around with stuff, and you just want to keep on working it, keep on doing it. Like I'm afraid. Spoilers. I have on order an AYN Thor, and you have one probably within 5 feet of you right now.
Yes, sir.
But I'm awaiting it very, very like anxiously. But at the same time, I'm so afraid of what that's gonna do, because it is gonna consume me with how much like I want to mess around with it, and like, you know, make it look cool, make it look good, and make it feel like it's an actual, like, you know, current DS type system. You know, I'm excited for it, but the tinkering is so much of a game, like you said.
I want to do on an upcoming show. I want to get into that because, you know, Los is big into, you know, the look and feel of the device, and, you know, it's got to be, you know, simpatico with him. It's got to speak to him.
Yeah.
And I don't come at it from that angle at all. So it'd be good to hear opposing, you know, opinions of why. You know, sometimes I dabble on Reddit at night before I go to bed. You know, a soothing evening to rest your mind is to go to bed and peruse Reddit and see all the devices that people have received. And they got, you know, stickers and cases and little things hanging off the side of, you know, trinkets hanging off the side of the device. And so I am eagerly anticipating that conversation to understand the why and do I need to do it. I know I have a couple home projects that I need to deliver to you today, so we can
yes.
So we can help you along with yours, which I will get to. I am turning the house upside down, looking for a ruler. That's where we are in this process right now. But
yeah,
it will get done today. But really, we just wanted to do this first episode to sort of, you know, introduce you to the show, Retro World Order, where we hope to discuss individual games and our processes with these devices, things we're learning along the way. Try to be interactive as possible. If the audience has any questions or game suggestions or things they like to, you know, topics they like us to discuss that maybe they're interested in that we can learn about at the same time, you know, that'd be ideal too. But it's a new journey. You know, I've just been starting this since January, so it's only been like, you know, 3 months in or so, 4 months.
Oh, you're flying.
Yeah.
You're working it.
I need to put some. You know, back in the day, I had friends that had Crown Vics, right, and the cars like swayed too much on the road, and they used to put like cinder blocks in their trunk. I need to put some cinder blocks in my pants here, because the devices are springing up. The ROMs are just, you know. It's such a Mike thing to do, to get into this stuff when the RAM is going up and the memory cards are going up, storage devices are going to like, if I only was like 2 years ago, you know, I could have got, you know, SD cards for super cheap and memory for super cheap, but now nope, it's got to be at the height, like you said, of the world exploding and disaster everywhere. You know, that's when I'm out there fighting the good fight, the SD card shortage fight.
Yep. I just did an SD card shuffle, you know, finding a 400 gigabyte one in my old Switch and like changing it out I actually took my 1 terabyte out of my Steam Deck because it was mostly filled with the old retro games. Right. And, you know, I switched it out. So now I got a fresh, brand new 1 terabyte here, just waiting for this Thor to come in.
Well, let's leave you with this little antidote, something to chew on, Lowe's. Less is more, and I know that's,
yes,
and I know that's funny coming from the things I just talked about. But try to put a 32, if you have one. Don't go out and buy one. But whatever the smallest memory card is, put that in your device, and just put the games on there that you want to play, rather than loading up a 1 terabyte and you're going to be spending all day going, what game do I want to play? I can't find
Yes, yeah. That's a problem. That is a problem. That's a big problem with any device, anything right now. And it's like, it's always been a problem for me. There's, what's the term? Is it choice paralysis or something like that? But it gets me hard. And I sit there and it's like, I just scroll through and like time is gone like that. It actually just happened to me last night when I was on my Steam Deck, and it's crazy, but it's a good tip. And it's something that everybody should listen to. And just for everybody else listening, if, we're doing this, just for future reference, if there's like, questions, if there's something that you're interested in, intrigued or whatever, hit one of us up, and, I'm sure Mike will sit there. I'll sit there and like, talk you through something and give you some info, point you in the right direction, something. And as far as the feeds go, you're putting this on your podcast feed, correct?
Yep.
And I'll be putting it on mine, future down the line. If something happens that this is, this is the one that we get a lot of views on, a lot of listens on or whatever, we'll figure something out. But for now, foreseeable future, this is just going to be something that we're going to be sharing on both our feeds. So, we're going to have each other's audiences listening in and all that stuff. So yeah, just letting everybody know. And, I know we're going to be cutting this short pretty soon. So,
yep. Got to wrap up the first episode here. Just a quick intro, and we'll be back in future episodes with a deeper dive.
Correct. All right. Thank you very much, Mike.
No problem.